Hey everyone, welcome back to Yusuf Reacts. Today, we're diving into the action-packed world of spies, stunts, and impossible missions. We're talking about Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. That's right, the 2015 blockbuster that had us all gripping the edge of our seats. So, let's break down the story, the stunts, and what makes this movie just so impossible. Rogue Nation opens with one of the most iconic stunts of the series, Tom Cruise literally hanging onto the side of a plane as it takes off. And yes, Cruise actually did that stunt himself. But that's just the beginning. Rogue Nation wastes no time in reminding us why we love this series. It's all about daring heists, global conspiracies, and, of course, Ethan Hunt doing the impossible. Alright, let's talk plot. After disbanding the IMF, the CIA believes Ethan Hunt's team is more trouble than they're worth. Meanwhile, Hunt, played by the ever-determined Tom Cruise, is on a mission to prove that the mysterious organization known as the Syndicate really does exist. And this time, they're out to dismantle governments and create chaos worldwide. Enter Ilsa Faust, played by Rebecca Ferguson. She's a British agent whose loyalties are, well, let's say complicated. Ilsa is one of the best parts of this film, a strong, skilled agent who blurs the line between ally and foe. She teams up with Ethan, and together they face a gauntlet of challenges that include underwater heists, assassinations, and thrilling car chases. One of the standout scenes in Rogue Nation is the Vienna opera sequence. It's got everything you could want: action, suspense, and the kind of elaborate choreography that feels like it's straight out of a classic spy thriller. The way the filmmakers interweave tension with the opera's performance is nothing short of genius. It keeps you on the edge of your seat while making you appreciate the art of cinema. And can we talk about the stunts for a second? Tom Cruise trained for months to hold his breath underwater for over 6 minutes for the underwater vault sequence. Whether he's scaling buildings or defying gravity, Cruise keeps pushing the boundaries of what's physically possible. That's part of what makes Mission Impossible films so much fun. Now, let's talk about the villain Solomon Lane, played by Sean Harris. He's got that chilling, calculated vibe, and the fact that he's always a step ahead of Ethan makes him one of the most memorable villains in the series. He embodies the idea of a rogue nation: no rules, no borders, just chaos. But Rogue Nation isn't just all action, it's got a clever storyline that keeps us guessing. With double crosses, hidden motives, and intricate planning, it embodies the perfect spy movie. And let's not forget Ethan's trusted team. Benji, played by Simon Pegg, adds humor and heart, while Luther and Brandt bring the teamwork that makes these missions possible. What's really impressive is how Rogue Nation balances its high-octane action with real emotional stakes. The loyalty between the IMF team members, Ilsa's struggle with her divided allegiances, and Ethan's relentless pursuit of the truth all add depth to a movie that could easily just be a string of explosions. In the final act, Ethan outsmarts Lane using his greatest weapon, his whip. It's classic Mission Impossible, and it leaves you with that perfect sense of satisfaction as the bad guys get taken down and the heroes prevail. Ethan and his team are truly unstoppable. Ethan and his team take on their most impossible mission yet, when they have to eradicate an international rogue organization as highly skilled as they are and committed to destroying the IMF. CIA Chief Hunley Baldwin convinces a Senate committee to disband the IMF Impossible Mission Force, of which Ethan Hunt Cruise is a key member. Hunley argues that the IMF is too reckless. Now on his own, Hunt goes after a shadowy and deadly rogue organization called the Syndicate. After an excoriating official-less government review of its history of questionable missions with high stakes and considerable collateral damage, the IMF is disbanded. Regardless, Ethan Hunt is undeterred from his personal mission to stop a sinister counter-organization to the IMF, the Syndicate. Now a fugitive from the CIA, Hunt secretly calls his colleagues together to accomplish that, which soon also involves a mysterious woman who has an agenda of her own with those criminals. With both sides playing deadly complex games of intrigue, Hunt and his team must take even more risk with difficult options to protect the world. After intercepting nerve gas being sold to terrorists, Ethan Hunt get on board an aircraft with the nerve gas package, taking off with Benji and Luther helping open the doors remotely. Ethan gets on the plane and secures the nerve gas pallet by parachuting it off the plane. Impossible mission Force Agent Ethan Hunt Tom Cruise is convinced he can prove the existence of the Syndicate, an international criminal consortium. Even the IMF now believes that the Syndicate is a shadow organization committed to inciting revolution in nation-states by enabling acts of terror in countries friendly to Western interests. Ethan has been tracking the Syndicate for over a year. Reporting to an IMF substation to receive his next orders, Hunt is captured by the Syndicate operative Solomon Lane, who traps Hunt in a gas chamber. Hunt escapes a torture chamber operated by Syndicate member Yannick Bone Dr. Vinter Jens Hult. With the help of disavowed Mi-6 agent and Syndicate operative Ilsa Faust Rebecca Ferguson. Meanwhile, CIA Director Alan Hunley, Alec Baldwin, and IMF agent William Brandt Jeremy Renner appear before a Senate Oversight Committee, and Hunley succeeds in having the IMF disbanded and absorbed into the CIA, boasting that Hunt will be captured within 24 hours. Hunley argues that the IMF bombed the Kremlin and knowingly gave nuclear launch codes to a known terrorist, and the resultant Russian nuclear warhead came within milliseconds of hitting San Francisco. Brandt argues that IMF has operated without oversight for 40 years and has brought peace and stability to the world. But the committee says that IMF's methods are indistinguishable from chance. Cut off from the IMF, Hunt starts following his only lead, a blonde man in glasses who captured Ethan at the London substation. The man is not yet identified by the IMF as Solomon Lane Sean Harris. Hunley tells Brandt that the Syndicate is a figment of Ethan's imagination that he has created to justify the existence of the IMF. 6 months later, Hunt remains on the run. Hunley attacks Ethan's base in Cuba while he was already in Paris and finds his research on the Syndicate. Ethan had identified government agents of every nationality, who were declared dead, and suspected them of working for the Syndicate. He also finds a whole series of worldwide financial disasters, accidents, acts of terrorism, that were linked to these dead agents. Unable to find the Syndicate without help, he enlists former colleague Benji Simon Pegg, arranging for him to attend the Opera Turandot in Vienna to search for Lane, whom he suspects is the Syndicate's leader. Benji and Ethan discover that the opera is being attended by the Austrian Chancellor. As Benji scans the camera feeds, he guides Ethan towards a potential assassin. Ethan also notices a woman moving around the backstage and taking position to shoot at the Chancellor. Ethan attacks the assassin and notices that he is wearing an eye camera, and his pics are being transmitted to Solomon Lane. Ethan notices a third assassin moving into position. He takes the gun of the first assassin and shoots the Chancellor in the shoulder to save his life. Benji attacks the third shooter, and Ilsa shoots him, saving Benji. Despite stopping 3 shooters including Faust, the Austrian Chancellor is killed by a car bomb. Hunt helps Ilsa escape the opera. Ilsa says that saving Ethan in London put her in a bad position, and she had to take the Vienna job to regain her employer's trust, whose identity she won't reveal. Ilsa jumps out of Ethan's care to make it look like an escape. Lane summons Ilsa and says that she has allowed Ethan to escape twice now. Ilsa tells Lane that Ethan knows about Morocco, but not what's there. Ethan tells Benji that he has been tracking the blonde man all over the world. Everywhere he goes, he creates an incident that leads to a crisis, a riot or a coup. He says that the Syndicate is Rouge Nation. Since the IMF was shut down, they have been escalating unchecked. Benji agrees to help Ethan find the blonde man. Ethan starts by tracking Ilsa. Ilsa had left him a pen drive with directions to Morocco. Ilsa meets Ethan in Morocco and tells him that the blonde man is Solomon Lane and is a former British agent. He created the Syndicate. Lane kept a ledger of all his operatives, which was stolen by one of his operatives, and is now kept in a secure server of a Moroccan power plant for safekeeping. Lane killed the operative for double-crossing him. The secure server can only be accessed if your profile is already preloaded into the security system. All security data is stored offline in a liquid-cooled underwater server. Brant recruits former agent Luther Stickle via Reims to find Hunt and prevent Hunley's team from killing him. Using a likeness of Faust created by Hunt, Brant and Stickle are able to track Hunt, Dunn, and Faust to Morocco, where the three are infiltrating a secure underwater security server beneath a power station. After having stolen what they believe to be a ledger containing the names of all syndicate agents, Faust takes the drive from Benji and rides away on a bike. Ethan was clinically dead by being underwater too long, before Ilsa jumped into the water to save him and revive him. Ethan chases Ilsa, followed by his group and the syndicate members. Faust manages to escape, but Dunn reveals he had already made a copy of the data. Faust returns to London and attempts to pass the file to her Mi-6 handler, Atlee Simon McBurney, who compels her to return to the syndicate and finish her mission. Atlee says that there is no way to determine if the ledger is authentic, and maybe Lane wanted Atlee to have it. He wants Ilsa to authenticate the ledger with Lane. Atlee says that Ilsa has no choice, as only a few people know her true identity as an undercover British agent. Ilsa returns to Lane, only to find that Atlee has wiped the drive, which in fact contained an encrypted, British government red box used to transport state secrets. That requires the Prime Minister's biometrics in order to be unlocked. The IMF agents know that to open the red box, Lane will try to abduct the British PM. Ilsa is sent by Lane to distract Ethan, and she realizes that it was Atlee who deleted the files from the disk. Ilsa says Hunt has three choices: hand her and the disk over to the CIA, let Ilsa loose to an uncertain fate, or go with her, leaving everything behind. Ilsa behind that nobody cares about them and that there will always be a Lane and people to face him. Lane's men abduct Dunn. They are told they must deliver a decrypted copy of the drive to Lane by night. Despite the objections of the others, Hunt realizes Lane will always have a plan to acquire the files. Believing the only certain way to stop him is to confront him, Hunt agrees to the ultimatum. Brant contacts Hunley and reveals their location. At a charity auction, the two try to prevent Hunt from attacking the Prime Minister, whom they and Atlee take to a secure room. Hunt, having posed as Atlee, reveals himself and has the Prime Minister confirm the existence of the Syndicate, a classified project to perform missions without oversight. Though the Prime Minister said he had ordered the project cancelled before it could leave the planning stages, as he considered it to be too extreme. When the real Atlee arrives, Hunt subdues him, and he admits that he had been covering up the existence of the Syndicate since Lane hijacked the project and went rogue. Hunt was finally able to convince Hunley about the existence of the Syndicate. Stickle discovers the file actually contains access to billions in currency. Hunt destroys the file and tells Lane he memorized the data, in order to force Lane to release Dunn and Faust in exchange for what he knows. Dunn escapes to Stickle and Brant while Ethan and Faust are chased by Vinter and his men across the streets of London, where they are separated. Faust kills Vinter in a knife fight while Ethan draws Lane into the open and lures him into a tunnel system revealed to be a bulletproof cell where he is gassed, like he did to Ethan at the beginning of the film, and taken into custody. Later in the film, it is shown that IMF and its operations are being restored, and Brant congratulates Hunley on joining the IMF. Sometime later, Hunley and Brant return to the Oversight Committee, where Hunley secures the reinstatement of the IMF, claiming that his previous efforts to have it disbanded were all to allow Hunt to go undercover. The committee, though skeptical, approves, and outside the chambers, Brant addresses Hunley as Mr. Secretary. In the final act, Ethan outsmarts Lane using his greatest weapon, his wit. It's classic Mission Impossible, and it leaves you with that perfect sense of satisfaction as the bad guys get taken down and the heroes prevail. Ethan and his team are truly unstoppable. So, what do you think of Mission Impossible Rogue Nation? It's got everything: the gripping storyline, some of the best stunts in the series, and a cast that knows how to keep us entertained. Personally, I think it's one of the best installments yet. Cruise just keeps raising the bar. Let me know your favorite Rogue Nation moment in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more movie breakdowns just like this one. Until next time, stay awesome, stay adventurous, and don't forget, no mission is truly impossible.